name is State Representative Rich Myers. I am from the Macomb area, and I am very proud to say that my entire district is covered by community college districts, as is every square mile in the state of Illinois, and I have several in my district, in addition to Spoon River and Carl Sandburg. And I'm also very proud to represent Monmouth College and Western Illinois University. I want to first thank the Illinois Student Assistance Commission for holding these hearings, and Carl Sandburg for hosting the hearing here today. I have been a member of the Appropriations Committee for Higher Education for about 11 years now, and I have been the Republican spokesperson for about 9 of those years. And I've always been a strong supporter of all of our scholarship programs and of the MAP program. But I guess I was not able to see the forest for the trees, because today's testimony really brought home the significance and the importance of the MAP grants. We know about it, as Mr. Davis will testify that in his testimony to us in our Higher Education Appropriations Committee, how important it was and how significant it was. And we knew of many students that had depended on it. But your testimony today really brings home what it means to each and every one of you, and I thank you for that. It's been somewhat of an eye-opener for me. Now, that being said, I've always been a supporter of that program. In fact, when I first got on the Higher Education Committee, Illinois was proud to have the second largest needs-based program in the United States, second only to the state of New York. We were proud of that fact. The legislature continued to fund that every year, and tried to add to that to make sure that we were providing the best opportunity. But let me remind you, many of you out here today have singled out the legislature, but there is another branch of government that plays into this, and as Representative Moffitt has already alluded to, the governor oftentimes has a hand in how things get funded. And in the last 6 years, we've seen funding for all of higher education take a real hit, take a real nosedive. And the committees, both in the House and the Senate, have oftentimes resisted. And in years when the governor wanted to cut higher education or cut funding for scholarships and student assistance, we've resisted. And sometimes we've even received an increase, albeit small, but we would buck the other part of government, the governor's office. So in this particular year, we had a very difficult decision to make, as everybody knows. And the effort was to try to put money into grant. And first of all, let me go back to another area of funding for students, and that is the veterans grants. President Smith knows, has been after Representative Moffitt and I for years, fund the veterans grants, because it cost the universities, it cost the community colleges. And we have been fighting in the legislature for years to try to get the executive branch to fund. Am I right? We have been trying to get the executive branch to fund the veterans grants. Now, those veterans go to school, unlike those of you who won't receive the MAP grant. If that's the way it goes, you won't go to school. The veterans grant, the veterans get to go to school. It just costs our institutions. So we've been trying to find the funding for all of the programs to make sure that the students can attend school, and attend school in an equitable way. Of recent days, I have heard this executive branch and this particular governor lay full and complete blame for not funding the MAP grant at the feet of the legislature. And personally, I like this governor. I visited with him many times. I find him to be a decent man, an honorable man. But he's part of the state government. And as Representative Moffitt said, he was given a lump sum of money, discretionary funds, to to do with what he decided to do with it. The amount that the legislature finally agreed upon, the $220 million for MAP funding, was not intended to be the only amount of money that goes into that. That's just what we designated. We intended the governor to make some other decisions. In fact, we didn't even tell the governor it all had to be spent or doled out in the fall semester. It was his decision whether or not to put it all in fall semester or split it out and spread it over the fall and the spring. He chose to put it all in the fall semester, leaving nothing for the spring. He still has some discretionary funding. In fact, I just recently read where he may be even putting some money into his own governor's reserve. And I would suggest to you that now is not the time to be pointing a finger of blame at anybody. Now is the time that we need to be working together, the executive branch and the legislative branch. We want to work with it. The legislative branch is already taking steps to introduce different ideas, different approaches. House Bill 4622. I'm sure there'll be others coming out of the Senate and the other parties. So I would implore you, when you come down to Springfield to have the rally, don't just talk to the legislators. We have been supportive of your cause for years. Previous governors have not been, and we hope that this governor will sit down and work with all of us to try to find the additional funding and, in fact, improve funding into the future for students of any particular persuasion, whether you're veterans, whether you're going into the nursing program, we have nursing grants, whether you're going into a teaching program. We want to make sure there's funding there for all of those students who really desire it. And my last comments will be to Mr. Davis. I urge you to go back, and as a representative of the administration, I urge you to tell the governor that he needs to come to us and work with us, and he's already reached out to the members of the Higher Education Committee. I've received a call from his office regarding the income tax, or the cigarette tax proposal. But rather than trying to lay blame at one body or another, tell him that it's time to come to us and work with us, and we'll work with you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your support.